Imagine a man in your camp who won't stop taking what isn't his, threatening people, hurting them when he doesn't get his way. There is no police officer to call, no jail, no court, no written law with his name attached to a punishment. And yet, somehow, for tens of thousands of years before any of those things existed, dangerous people like him were stopped. Not by force from above. By something far quieter and far more effective than most people realize, something you are almost certainly still using yourself, right now, without ever calling it a weapon. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent decades studying how small-scale, egalitarian societies, hunter-gatherer bands with no chiefs, no formal authority, no written rules actually dealt with dangerous individuals in their midst. In his 1999 book Hierarchy in the Forest, Boehm proposed something that reversed the usual assumption about early human groups. We tend to picture prehistory as either lawless chaos or rule by the strongest. Boehm's research, built on a systematic review of ethnographic records from dozens of foraging societies, found something different. These groups actively, collectively worked to prevent any one person from dominating or endangering everyone else. He called it a reverse dominance hierarchy. Instead of one person controlling the group controlled anyone who tried to become that person. In a later book, Moral Origins, published in 2012, Boehm went further, arguing that this exact mechanism may be one of the evolutionary roots of human conscience and morality itself. Here's what makes Boehm's findings genuinely strange. The system he documented wasn't one blunt tool. It was a graduated ladder, and most of the time, it never needed to reach the top. The first rung was gossip. Ethnographic accounts across numerous foraging societies documented that talking about a person behind their back, specifically their bad behavior, functioned as a real, active form of social policing, not idle chatter. Word spread. Reputation shifted. A person's ability to get help, to find a mate, to be trusted with anything, quietly eroded. If gossip didn't work, the next rung was open ridicule and criticism, delivered directly, sometimes by the whole group at once. Public shame in a society where you'd spend your entire life around the same 50 or 150 people is a fundamentally different weapon than public shame today. There was no leaving town, no new city, no fresh start among strangers. The humiliation had nowhere to go and no expiration date. If that failed, the group escalated to ostracism, functional exclusion from shared food, shared fire, shared protection, while technically still remaining physically present. And in the documented worst cases, Boehm found something that should genuinely surprise you. Repeat, unrepentant killers and violent bullies were, in a number of recorded societies, executed not by a single ruler's decree, but by collective agreement among the group itself. To understand why a system built entirely on reputation and shame could actually stop violent people, you have to understand what a violent person actually loses in a small, permanent group. In a band of roughly 50 to 150 people, the same range you might already recognize from how tightly bounded ancestral social circles actually were. Everyone's survival depended on cooperation with everyone else. Nobody hunted entirely alone. Nobody raised children entirely alone. Nobody survived a bad season entirely alone. A reputation as dangerous, untrustworthy, or a bully wasn't a minor social cost. It was a direct threat to your access to food, protection, and reproduction, the exact resources violence was often used to seize in the first place. This is very possibly why the system rarely needed to escalate to execution. Gossip alone typically did the job. Because in a world with nowhere to hide from your own reputation, gossip wasn't gossip in the modern, trivial sense. It was the first and most efficient layer of the only enforcement system that existed. Here's where this stops being a story about a hunter-gatherer camp. You have almost certainly gossiped about someone who wronged you, or someone else. You've felt the specific, sharp discomfort of being talked about, or the pull to warn a friend about someone's behavior before they got hurt by it. None of that is a character flaw, and it isn't petty the way modern etiquette sometimes frames it. You are running the exact same enforcement system your ancestors built, one that predates courts, predates written law, predates almost every formal institution humans have ever invented to keep dangerous people in check. This is also very possibly why being excluded from a group, even a modern one, even one with no real stakes attached, can feel disproportionately devastating. Ostracism was never a mild social inconvenience to the nervous system that evolved to fear it. It was one of the most severe punishments your ancestors' world had, reserved for people the group had genuinely given up on protecting. You didn't invent gossip as a bad habit. You inherited it as a functioning justice system running quietly underneath a world that now also happens to have courts. The camp is gone. The man who wouldn't stop taking what wasn't his has been dead for tens of thousands of years, along with everyone who ever whispered about him. But the system that stopped people like him, reputation, whispered warnings, The slow erosion of trust never got replaced. It just got a legal system built on top of it. One that still can't function without the older system underneath, quietly doing what it always did. Laws came later. Gossip was always first.